So as we know, Friday on the Thesparkleicious channel equals a woman to woman video. I'm going to try and do these every Friday now and kind of make it a bit of a series. But today's video is going to be about mother and daughter body issues, and it's an absolutely fascinating concept to me. It's a really, really interesting topic because I think that so many of us kind of can inherit our mother's body issues or can develop body issues from watching our mother or watching their kind of body issues. So I'll kind of talk a little bit about my personal experience with it first. My mum is very, very skinny naturally. She's very thin, always has been, doesn't have to really watch what she eats, but does because she just enjoys kind of healthy food. So she eats really, really well, does quite a lot of physical work, but is also very naturally thin. Everybody in my mum's family is naturally quite thin, versus my dad's side of the family, where I hope no one's going to mind me saying this, but everybody is kind of naturally bigger. And that is also probably to do with the kind of lifestyle and food choices that they tend to make, but they are naturally bigger boned. So I'm the oldest of 5, and I have, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, I've always struggled with my weight from a really, really, really young age. I've kind of struggled with my weight, struggled to kind of keep it down, was putting weight on very, very easily, and just kind of assumed that I had kind of the genes from my dad's side, and was always incredibly, incredibly jealous that I didn't inherit the genes from my mum's side, which meant that I was very thin and didn't have to worry about it. My mum hasn't got body issues at all. My mum's not really the type of person to dwell on that kind of thing. She's very practical and wouldn't really kind of ever voice that kind of thing anyway, and was very kind of right on about that sort of thing. Like, I wasn't allowed to play with Barbies because she thought that they like represented a not real female body image. That later kind of went a bit weird because somebody actually gave me loads of them, and I became like the biggest Barbie holic ever. But she kind of was quite switched on about that kind of thing. So I don't ever remember my mum moaning about her body or moaning about her weight or that kind of thing. But when I did get chunkier, I can remember her sort of saying small comments, and it wasn't in a way of it wasn't trying to put you down, and it wasn't kind of out of jealousy or out of her own body issues. It was, I think, just seeing someone that you care about getting bigger and them not doing anything about it was difficult for her, so she did voice it. And it did, at the time, kind of completely break my heart, because let's face it, if anybody tells you that you're a little bit fat, it is upsetting. But she wasn't too bad in that kind of area. Like, I can't really say that she has affected my body image in any way. But I think with a lot of women, if a mother has body image and grows up showing that she has body image issues, then, I said if a mother has body image, like it's a disease, it's not a disease. If a mother has body image issues and she kind of shows them, then I think it will become acceptable for the child to have body issues as well. Because if you've grown up in a house where your mum was always weighing herself, which a lot of my friends kind of have, where they've had mums that were always on perpetual diets and always doing slim fast and that kind of thing, you tend to kind of develop a consciousness for weight that maybe wouldn't be as bad if your mother wasn't so into that kind of thing. I'm not saying that it would make that much of a difference, because I think you kind of will develop some sort of an issue in today's day and age anyway, but I think it definitely makes a difference. And I think a lot of mothers will really struggle in that if their daughter's figures aren't how they think the ideal figure should be. So if you're not skinny enough, a lot of mothers will kind of make comments, and it's a very destructive thing to be doing. I know people whose kind of parents will make comments about their figure and kind of talk about them as chunky when they're not. And I think a lot of the time it happens in that kind of teen period where you are a little bit chubby and it's puppy fat and that kind of thing. And that's when mothers tend to kind of get a bit stressed out about it, and they'll kind of think that it's a real problem and try and cut down on food and try and make you kind of lose weight and that kind of thing. And it's absolutely destructive to like try and make your child believe they're on a diet when they're young. And even when they're older, I know so many girls who kind of, their mother will always tell them that they put weight on, and will kind of make it very uncomfortable for them to kind of feel confident in their figure if their figure isn't what they deem as okay. So it's a subject that, like, I find totally fascinating, because I think that a lot of women will not even think about it and portray their body image problems to their child, whether they mean to or whether they don't, just kind of out of habit really. And it's a very, very destructive thing, because you're basically giving your child the tool to hate themselves, and it's a very, very horrible destructive thing that I think nobody should really have. But if you suffer from body image, you're not really thinking about that, you're just doing what you've always done. And I sort of think, you know, it's even small things like weighing yourself and kind of getting stressed out about weight, or not eating properly in front of your kids. Things like that really do make a difference. And I can't really ever remember anybody having too much of like a body image problem around me from like older women. I can remember friends and things like that, but I definitely think that it has a huge impact. And how do you deal with the fact that your mother thinks that you're not skinny enough, or that you're eating too much, or that you're not kind of how she'd like you to be? And the answer to that is very, very complicated, because it's very difficult to ignore somebody like your mother, because this is somebody who, you know, loves you more than anything else in the world and only wants what's best for you. So it's harder to sort of be like, oh, they're just jealous, or oh, they, you know, just ignore them, because it's something that I think most people will kind of feel like there must be some truth to it if my mother's saying it. But a lot of the time you don't realise that it's just stemming from their own insecurities, as it would with any other person. It just comes from their insecurities. And I feel like a lot of girls today really do get a hard time about it, about being a certain way and looking perfect, because it's what's expected, it's what society expects. And, you know, even the older generation kind of is still slightly affected by it, or want to affect you by it, because they just think that it's the right thing to do and that it will make it easier for you. But that isn't always the case. And if your mum's always giving you little hints and comments and things, especially in those destructive teenage years, which I just think is an absolute just no-go, then it's very hard. And I think what they need to realise is that there are some people who just genuinely don't mind what size they are, and if they're happy at size 8 or they're happy at size 20, it makes absolutely no difference as long as they're happy. And there are people like that, and you'd never feel like you want to say anything to them, because it's so obvious that they're happy. The only people that people tend to say it to are people who are obviously unhappy with their weight, unhappy with their size. So people try and help them, except that their help is sometimes a little bit unconstructive. And if you are someone who your mum always kind of makes little comments at you, I think one of the main things is to kind of just look in the mirror and really evaluate yourself, and just really think, is there truth to what she's saying? Do you see the truth in what she's saying? Not because she's your mother and she loves you and she knows best. Do you see the truth in what she's saying? If the answer to that is yes, then you have two decisions. You either choose to be active and do something about it, or you choose to just be happy with what you have. And if then you look in the mirror and you realise that, you know, you're fine, then you'll be perfectly happy and everything will be good. And you just have to remind yourself that just because that's what she feels makes no difference. It's my body, it's my happiness. I determine how I'm going to feel about it. So whether you've had, you know, that third slice of cake and your mother's giving you kind of shady looks, you've just got to totally ignore it. You've just got to sort of think, it's my happiness, my body. Don't interfere with my cake eating, and do what feels right for you. And I know that it's such a difficult thing, because as I said, I haven't struggled with it from my mother as such. But not badly, kind of little things here and there, but not anything that I feel was kind of like defining. But other people definitely 100% have kind of really made me have issues about it. And now I can kind of say that to myself, but I remember being younger, you can't really justify it to yourself, and it's a very destructive, very difficult, upsetting thing to have to go through. But that's kind of my thoughts on mother-daughter body image. I'd love to know what you think about this. If you feel like your mother kind of has affected your body image in any way, I'd love to hear what you've got to say. And as always with these types of videos, get chatting and commenting in the comments below, and don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and also make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already to see more of these videos. I think the subscribe button is somewhere down here, but I will see you all in my next video, and don't forget to leave suggestions for what you would like next Friday's Woman to Woman to be about, and I will see you then.